the month comes to an end. Mercy Murigi joins me tonight here on the program. She is a mental health awareness advocate, right?
Yes.
I got that right?
You got that
so
right.
We're still in time to have this conversation.
We are very much in time.
Thank you so much for making time for this conversation. Now, why is it, let me just start from the onset of it, why it's so important to create, to have conversations around mental health, because it's not a topic that we actually discuss once. It is a topic that happens on a daily, not just in the country, but across the globe.
Yes. First of all, thank you very much for having me. This is a conversation that I'm very much passionate about. And the reason is why we need to have this conversation over and over again is because I don't want to worry the trend, but we are just becoming aware of the fact that, there is other factors that do affect a person in their day-to-day decision making, rather than the way they are nurtured, rather than the way the environment is. There is something that affects you internally that we need to have conversation, because it affects how you are going to go through your day-to-day life and all the decisions that you're going to make. And if you're not right in the head, then everything that you're going to do, from the way that you wake up, the way that you have interaction with the people that you're going to come across with, everything get affected. So that is why it's very important to be in the right mental space before you even leave your house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I want us to touch on the youth, because when you say mental health, it's such a broad subject.
It is.
Now, we want to start breaking it. Today, you're focusing on just the youth alone. Mental health and the youth. How has it evolved in terms of just having this conversation among the youth for you?
We have seen quite a difference from the previous years to where we are as of right now. We have seen a lot of groups that have come up which are trying to create this awareness, which I commend them for that, because it's creating spaces for people who can start to express themselves. Now, we understand the youth, of course, when you're talking about 18 to 35, but it includes other people. And the reason is why we are focusing on them. It's because at this age, when you're 18, you do not know how exactly it works, because you are just a child and your parents are treating you as a child. And then the world is actually treating you as a grown-up, because now you're 18. And then you get to 18 to 25, those are very confusing age. That is a very confusing age, because you're not exactly certain how you're supposed to act, because mentally, you are now faced with these hard decisions that you're supposed to make. And everybody assumes he's a grown-up. I mean, you have an ID, therefore,
the moment you hit 18,
exactly.
And I just want to touch on that. That battle that happens in the mind, and just trying to understand, when you hit 18, what are some of the battles that we as youth get to start struggling with, that we say, now this one can actually translate to having a problem in, mentally, something like that?
One of the things that you're going to come across is decision making.
Yeah.
And no one comes in, holds your hand and tell you, this is how you're supposed to make a decision. The world expects you to, you're supposed to know what is right, you're supposed to know what is wrong. And that is it. You're already grown up. And then now you have to come to financial decision. I mean, that is like the heaviest of the burdens. Most of the way that you're grown up, we are not taught how to save. So when it comes now to making financial decision, you're making it in terms of, I have money today. I am not very sure if I'm going to have it tomorrow.
What am I spending on, actually?
Exactly.
I need to have fun at the same time, make conscious decisions about the future, and things like that.
So financial decision is one of those things that can weigh heavily on you, that can impact on you mentally. The next thing is there is relations. I mean, you're 18. Everybody expects you to start talking. Girlfriends, boyfriends, that kind of conversation. And no one told you, this is what you look for in a woman, in a man. You're just left to your own devices. You have to learn, and that is why you have heard about character development, because these are young people trying to find themselves, trying to understand, okay, I am me, but what do I want? What do I want from the world? And what do I need for me to grow as a person? The kind of relationships that I'm going to get into are going to either build me, or they're either going to crush me. Exactly. And that is an issue, because at the end of the day, it comes down to I am grown, and now I am 18 to 25, confusing age. And then at 25, now you're okay, now I feel I am completely grown.
Now, this is the thing. When you get to 25, most of the time, you start questioning whether you are expiring to some extent. Now, am I at the age where if I haven't achieved everything that I wanted to achieve, now maybe that's the end for me? Should I start thinking of probably now, you know? I know, and those are battles that people go through. Those are the battles that I think most of the youth actually, because somebody has put it somewhere that at the age of 25, you must have probably put a step in when it comes to employment, done your savings. How do we deal with that as people?
Okay, first of all, this is where self-love comes in. You need to understand destinies are different, and there is no certain timeline. My timeline is different from yours. We can't be 25 at the same age. Like, we are celebrating the same birthday. We are 25, but you're employed. You have children. I am 25. I don't have a job. I'm not married. I don't have children, and I'm okay with it. So first of all, you need to understand yourself. You need to understand, what do I stand for, and what do I want out of life? Because at this point, it's either you rush with people and you end up at the wrong crowd, and you end up at the wrong place, and we do not want that. So how you deal with it is understand yourself, understand there is no certain timeline that you need to do this at this time, and it's not fixed. You can still get married at 30 and still be very happy. You can get married at 22 and by that you're divorced. You can get a job at 23 and 27. At 27 you actually you are fired, and you can get a job at 35. You can get a job at 40. There is no timeline to achieving what you want to achieve with your life. So that is the first thing that you need to understand. And the other thing that you need to understand is stop giving yourself pressure. Love yourself. Give yourself the space to grow. You are discovering yourself. You are a youth. There is a whole lot of things that you have not seen, that you have not experienced, and it's upon you. Give yourself space to grow into whatever it is that you're going to be, and be kind to yourself. Yes, stop rushing it.
Let me just get to the effects of not getting to identify yourself and probably blocking everything that is negative. Because when you get to 18, this is a youthful age. When we allow, you know, those battles that we have in the mind to actually dictate how we want to run things in terms of at what age am I supposed to have gotten married, probably, you know, get a job, or financial decisions and all that. When we don't do that, what do we stand to lose as the people, as the future probably?
First of all, you stand to lose yourself. And that is the worst thing that you can do to yourself, because you forget that you are one person, but one and another person, we make the society. So if I'm lost, another person is lost, another youth is lost. That means basically we do not have a future, and that is quite sad. And that is why I started with yourself, because before we even fix the society, before we even fix our homes, it has to start with you, because you can't pour from an empty cup. That is given, and everybody knows that. You need to understand, I know what I want, and as much as I want to dictate the timeline, I know the push, I know how it feels like. All my friends are successful, all my friends are employed, all my friends do have kids, and I want that for myself. And it's good to want that because it pushes you, but do not let it push you to a point that it blocks everything else that you cannot see. We have seen most youths land into drugs, into alcoholism, and it's quite sad because this is a person who would have said, no, I do not want to drink, to the very first beer they got invited to. But they were like, okay, you know, I need to look cool. You know, my friends are doing this. So it feels, I am a youth, this is where the next step leads me. And then that is how you end up with alcoholism. And then there is, when it comes to marriage, of course, it dictates when you're from 18 to 25. Now when you're starting to feel like, oh my God, this is it, I'm rushing, I need to hit some milestone by the time I'm 30. And you realize by the time you're like 28, especially for men, this is something I have seen a lot. And this is something that quite frightens me. By the time you're 27, 28, you start realizing, oh, I am clocking that in a few years and I'm not married. Society dictates, by the time I'm 30, I need to get married. So the society dictates a woman is supposed to have this and this and this. Listen, that is, in your mind, you're like, the society needs to have this and this and this. This is what a society dictates. This is not what I want. This is not the right thing. No, this is not what you want. This is what society dictates. This is what society has taught you. This is how a woman is supposed to be when you're marrying her. So you go and you start looking through the eyes of the society, and you end up, of course, get married. We come to your ratio, we sing, we eat, but 2 years down the line, you're in my office telling me, oh Mercy, I don't know what I did wrong, I don't know why it's not working. Like, you see, a lot of things get affected.
I know. Now, let's look at some of the pointers that somebody can look at and right now and point and say, by the way, I think I have a mental condition. I have a mental issue right now. Somebody's sitting at home, probably until somewhere, or an edu or a grief somewhere. They're seated and wondering, or maybe as Nelima, or somebody is seated somewhere and wondering, I'm in this age, I'm a youth. But I'm a little bit confused. So what are some of the pointers they look at and say, I need to seek help? I have a problem, probably mental.
Okay, there are two assessments. We have the stress assessment, and then we have the depression assessment. So depression basically is stress that has progressed. And before it gets there, let's look at stress. So what's some of the pointers that you can look out to see whether you're stressed? So there is always feeling fatigued. Listen to your body. You wake up in the morning and, oh my God, you feel like you have slept the whole day digging somewhere like in a farm. Okay. You are very exhausted in the morning. The next thing is you start pulling out from the things that you previously enjoyed. I love bowling. And then all of a sudden people are inviting me to bowling and I'm like, I cannot even come up with the energy to think I can entertain conversation or being with people or something like that. Things that you used to enjoy, suddenly they no longer have meaning. Okay. You no longer start to enjoy them. And then the other thing is irritability. Someone will do something and you go off. You go off on them. Yeah.
So you just become irritable
just
immediately.
Small thing and you just go off. Your levels of irritability, they just skyrocket. You can notice this even at home when someone says, hey, and these days you're like short-fused or something. Because listen to the people who are around you, because first of all, they are the first people who will notice. And the other thing that you can look out for is stress eating. All of a sudden, you have this appetite and you have the warmth. You have this appetite.
You know, just it's not normal. It's not normal to be eating. Probably you've grown an appetite. You're becoming healthy. We do
have normal appetite, but then we do have this other appetite that we call stress eating. This basically is eating your emotions away. Someone offended you, you grab ice cream, you grab chocolate, you grab foods that they are called comfort food because they comfort you.
They help you to calm down.
Yeah, so like that. You find yourself, okay, having comfort food now and again in a month, you know, life is what it is. It's going to be hard sometimes. Okay. So I understand. Once a month, it's all right. But realizing you're doing comfort food every single day, that is a red flag that should be flagged down.
Okay. Yeah. Now, moving forward, when we notice that in terms of speaking out, because, you know, speaking out sometimes, speaking up and just finding people to talk to is a little bit hard. So you are in a circle that maybe you can't trust people to do that, to listen to you, or you're afraid people are going to judge you. Now, when it comes to seeking help, that's what I want to touch on. When it comes to seeking help, how do you go about it, and how do you trust people to listen to you and not judge you?
Good question. First of all, let me say, speaking out is not going to be easy. As a person who have dealt with people who are mentally disturbed, speaking out is the hardest thing that you're going to do, but it is the most helpful thing to yourself that you can do. So start with keeping an emotional journal. If you're sure there is no one that you can walk up to and tell them this is how I'm feeling, start with keeping an emotional journal. This is a journal that you basically write about what you're feeling. Today I felt this type of a way. Tomorrow, then you write how you've been feeling throughout the day. And the good thing about emotional journals is they help you manage how you can look back and be like, oh, okay, I can see a pattern. If I was sad this and this day, so what happened on this day that made me sad? Okay. So it's something that you can look back, that you can predict, this makes me sad, so I'm going to avoid this in the future. Or this annoys me, so I'm going to avoid this in the future. So keeping an emotional journal helps. The other thing is we have anonymous calls. There is Befriend Kenya. I think that most people find that very helpful. And you can just call in anonymously. You have someone at the call and they can walk you through whatever it is that you're feeling. Yes.
Somebody said that's a stranger listening to my problems.
But funnily enough, it helps to speak to a stranger, and it is easier than speaking to someone you know, because at the back of your mind you'll be like, now this person knows all my secrets. They know how I'm feeling. They know what is happening with me.
What if you're dealing with paranoia and you're speaking to somebody and you're like, they might know who I am. They might actually figure out. Okay. But moving forward, so what should be the best way to go about dealing with mental issues for the youth as we wind up on this conversation, because I'm running out of time. So how do you deal with it as a youth?
As a youth, first of all, your mental health is your responsibility. No one is going to come outside there and tell you, now you need to go and seek help. It is on you to decide, okay, this is it, this is happening, and I need help.
Okay.
You have to make that decision yourself, that this is it, I need help. Then secondly, seek help out there. You cannot do anything by yourself. Find a support system. There are friends who can be with you. If you cannot speak to your friend, Red Cross have a toll-free number. Like I said, Befriend Kenya also have a toll-free number, and you can call those. Just go online and say anonymously, where can I call in, and start there. So when you build up the courage to speak to someone face to face, then you can reach out to therapists, you can reach out to counselors, you can reach out to any other person, but do not just stay there and assume it is going to go away, because unfortunately it's not going to go away. You need to seek help.
Okay.
Yeah.
You need to seek help. That is where we leave it tonight here on the program. Thank you so much, Mercy Murigi, for joining us and speaking to us about mental health. Okay. You are an advocate. I just have 30 seconds for you to tell us exactly what you do.
Okay, I'm a mental health advocate and I'm a counselor. I work with Malkia Nutrition. We are located at Westlands, Occidental Plaza, floor 2. So anytime you can call us and we'll be there, we'll help you throughout.
I think I have some people who are going to be your customers soon. Thank you so much for your time and making time for this conversation here on Look Up Weekend. I do appreciate it, and it's a conversation that we need to keep on having, because mental health, like you say, it's not something that we can just wish away. It's something that is here. So how do we deal with that? We face it and you know, find solutions for that so that we don't lose people to depression and all that, right? Thank you so much. All right, that has been our time here on the program. Thank you once again for tuning in and being part of it. My name is Brian Amwai. Have yourselves a lovely night. Let's do this again next time.